Good morning. Thank you for joining us on Pastor's Corner. I hope you had a blessed week. I hope you're blessed today. We thank God for His love, His mercy, His grace, His many blessings. I'd like to ask you, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, we'd appreciate it. Those of you that have already subscribed, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up, maybe put a comment, praying hand, something in there. It really helps us to reach other people. We're going to go to the book of Isaiah, one scripture, chapter 5, the book of Isaiah, and the 20th verse. And it reads, woe unto them, and we got to underline that word woe unto them, that call evil good. They call evil good and good evil. That put darkness for light and light for darkness. That put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Now, of course, we're seeing opposites here. And it says, woe unto them. Woe meaning eventually this is going to come back, and it's going to come back at somebody that does that, and it's going to really hit them backwards the other way. And if you've been with us any length of time, I like to contrast things. I like to look at both sides of things. In scriptures, in situations, circumstances in life with people, I like to look at both sides. And I know there's a lot of people, they don't. They just hear one side. They hear partial side. They hear incorrect, even lies, deception, and don't even attempt to view things from the opposite side. But this is a great contrast because it flips it. It's taking that which is evil and calling it good, and that which is good and calling it evil. That which is darkness, calling it light, and calling light darkness. And in a lot of ways, this is simple, evil, good, good, evil, but yet in many ways it's profound. In many ways it has a great depth. But you will find people like this in life, and I say it this way, they lack self-awareness. And they can be bringing across a wickedness, an unkindness, hurting people, and call it good. And call it good. And what they do is they justify their actions. They justify it. And the way they justify it is they believe that what they believe is at a higher level than everybody else. They have a more insight on truth. They have truth cornered, and their beliefs are always 100% correct. Therefore, they can mistreat people. Therefore, they can even commit evil acts. It's a lack of self-awareness. It's a form of deception. The way I like to view it is in reverse. And what do I mean in reverse? How do we relay that we know the truth, we live the truth, we are doctrinally correct in our scriptures? What is portrayed in our lives? Are we doctrinally correct in every way, fashion, and form, but yet we mistreat people? We damage people, we hurt people, we attack people, we're constantly in confrontations, all these things, and justifying it. Because again, in reverse, what we do out here in the external of life. How do we treat a stranger? How do we interact in public? How do we interact in private? how do we, how are we behind closed doors? How are we in open doors? Are we genuine? Are we authentic? Are we sincere? Are we honest? Are we sensitive to other people? And this is where people would call that evil. They'll call it evil. Being kind, call it evil. Being sensitive to other people, evil, call it. Having empathy, call it evil. Having love, call it evil. Having peace, call it evil. The reason they'll call it evil says, oh, that's watering down the scriptures. That's going against the doctrine of the Lord. And what they'll do is they'll pick certain scriptures. For example, when the Lord went into the temple and started tossing tables and casting out the money exchangers, they were polluting the house of the Lord, the temple. I'm saying the house of the Lord because we say the house of the Lord. But the literal temple, they were polluting it. They were mudding it, and he cast it out. And that's what they'll take and say, well, this is what Jesus did. And I'm like Jesus, so I go around throwing tables. How often did we see Jesus do that? How often, as compared to seeing him being kind and gentle, healing, feeding thousands, all the different things? How many times? But they'll circle around that, tossing the tables, and they go around tossing tables everywhere. And most likely, it's actually out of context, improper, as compared to keeping, as we've discussed in the past, the table clean, the environment clean, the sanctuary clean, not mudding it, not dirtying it up, not polluting it. Why? With our conduct, the way we carry ourselves. I'm sure you've had this happen where somebody has verbally attacked you, maybe raised their voice to you, called you what we call a derogatory name, an improper name, a name attacking your character or attacking your character or assassinating your character, coming at you, maybe face-to-face, maybe a phone call, maybe a text message. Some people maybe even an email, which is not as common anymore because so much is done through texting, or maybe just going straight up on social media and going after you that way. And I'm sure something has happened somewhere in your life, and however you view it or interpret it, but I'm just going to give you mine. When people do that, I step back and think, where are you birthing this from? How does this math work for you? How does the addition, the subtraction, the multiplication, the division, how are you doing this that you believe that verbally attacking, coming at somebody, assassinating their character, calling them names is blessed of the Lord? It's from God, doing the work of the Lord, in the name of the Lord. How does that come to believing this is the answer? And it doesn't even have to be someone that knows the Lord, knows the word of the Lord, but just individuals, and you'll see it happen out in public. How many times you be at a traffic light and somebody's just laying into the horn? They're just driving into that horn, giving gestures, hand gestures, different things. And again, I'll sit there and think, wow, what is going through that person? What's going through the individual? What's going through their mind? What's going through their heart? And you just see this happen, maybe at the store where somebody's getting livid, somebody's telling an employee at a place of business, just giving it to them verbally. And believing that's good. Believing they're committing a good gesture or act. So many people, and let me stay in the, let's call it the religious world, if I could say it that way. Everybody in the religious world would tell you they believe, they speak, and they teach the truth. Everybody. Every single belief will tell you they're the truth. They speak the truth. They believe the truth. They know the truth. You name a religion in your mind right now. Name one. And that religion, if you asked somebody in there, a leader, a follower, whatever, do you guys believe the truth? They would say yes. Do you teach the truth? Yes. And all the contrasts and differing opinions would contradict each other, but yet each one would say they're the truth. So we said, why do you say that? What does it even matter? Because how can in one breath somebody proclaim the truth, but yet their conduct, their actions, the way they treat people is evil? Be it verbally, be it in conduct, be it even to the extreme in Israel, and I don't even want to get in those details, and say it's good. And say it, they're doing it in the name of the Lord. And believe it. Believe they are doing the right thing. And if you gave them a lie detector test, they would pass it most likely. And yeah, now there's people that do lie and they know they're lying. Yes. But there's so many people that believe that what they're doing is of God, but yet it contradicts God. It contradicts the living God. It contradicts the word of the Lord. I say this to young people now that I'm up there in age and I've been doing this for a length of time. And I appreciate what we call powerful. I appreciate what we call anointed. I appreciate what we call gifted, gifts that come from the Lord. I appreciate it. But what is all that if the individual just can't get the small, proper things correct? Like treating people kindly, respect, honor, etiquettes, just the small things. And I point this out to young people, like simple things. Picking up after yourself. And I'm not talking about in a home, which does come into it. But I'm saying like right here in the house of the Lord. Coming into the house of the Lord and ministering or doing something, but yet leaving water bottles and things left open, lights on, air conditioning set really low, and walking out, not locking the doors and heading out, but being powerful, being anointed. Say, well, what does that mean? Well, what it means to me is if you can't see the basic things, but yet you're powerful, anointed, and supposedly see greatly, the math doesn't come and add up in my eyes. Because if God's going to show you the great depths of things, then he's going to have you blinded on basic things of life? I don't think so. The way you treat the people around you, the closest people to you, the closest, yes, and going out like that. Going out like that. Again, speaking to somebody desiring to be used of the Lord, being in that, whatever it might be, a calling, having a ministry. How do you treat people? How do you treat people close to you? How do you treat people far from you? How do you treat people in public? Are you capable of picking up after yourself, your water bottles, whatever it might be? Why? Because you understand that's part of who you are. You're a servant. And that it doesn't make you lesser by serving, by moving something, picking something up, cleaning something, pushing a vacuum, replenishing the paper towels in the bathroom. Does that make you lesser? Because if it does, then that individual's missing. They're missing the mark. I would say, yes, we should pray, we should fast, and I encourage that. But what comes with prayer and fasting is the ability to be a servant. What comes with prayer and fasting is the ability to be sensitive to other people, to be sensitive to the voice of the Lord. And not come across because, oh, I'm called, I'm anointed, I have this position, whatever it might be. Therefore, I can mistreat people and call evil good. And then people that are kind, gentle, sincere, transparent, authentic, call evil. How does that work? I just want you to take a second here in your mind right now. And I'll give you this. Think of somebody in your life that you would say is a kind individual. Somebody you think of is a kind individual. Somebody that you just know that you can speak to them with transparency and be vulnerable to them, and you know that they would have an ear to hear you and not look at you the wrong way. For myself, I have relationships with a lot of strong men, like really strong men. What I mean is physically strong men. Men that have made a living with their physical strength, as in the NFL and different things like that. And how many times that I'll be speaking to one of them one-on-one, and they'll be vulnerable, start crying, sharing things. And the reason I'm saying this is just this past week, a young man that didn't play in the NFL, but tough man, all the things externally tough. And he was messaging me and calling me and left me a voicemail. And I was at the time I was in a meeting. I had to just kind of let go. When I had a break, I called him back, and when he answered the phone, he started crying. As soon as he heard my voice, he started crying. He's breaking down. He's telling me what he's going through. I'm hearing him out, and I'm thinking that is what I'm saying here. How many times that a man that is like that, they call me, they reach out to me when they want to be vulnerable, when they want to break down, when they want to show that side. And I look at it and it says, why? Because you're weak? Because I'm weak? To me, it's a compliment when a strong man can show their weakness. But I get this. They're not going to do it in front of just anybody. And I know a lot of them won't do it in front of anybody. But they do it in front of me. Now watch these same men around other men, and then you just see that strength. You see that alpha personality and coming out. And I respect that too. But the vulnerability I respect also. But I look and I say, why is that? Why are people willing to do that? And I have to say, because I can hear them and not turn around and throw it back at them. I can hear it and not go after them the wrong way. And then I just said, I heard him, I gave him some words, I said, let's pray. We started praying. We prayed and exchanged some words, talking. And I'm sharing this because I look and say, isn't it nice to have somebody that you can be that way with, that you can talk to, that you can be vulnerable to, that you can be transparent to, that you can show that side to, and they're not going to hold it against you. What do I mean hold it against you? They're going to disrespect you. They're not going to be able to look at you the same any longer because you're tired, you're worn out, you've hit a wall, life has put you in a corner, you're between a rock and a hard place, however you want to say that. Having somebody, not that they have the answers, but having somebody that has an ear that you can talk to. You can bend their ear. And for myself, I have different individuals in my life. And I say it this way, no one person checks all the boxes. And that's not being negative to anybody. Nobody checks all the boxes. But certain people check different boxes in our lives. and they fit different things for us to lean on, that we lean on them. And a mentor, a role model, a voice of wisdom. I know I said that someone to talk to, but sometimes somebody that can speak some wisdom to your life. But that you just know it's a kind person, because kindness has to be, yeah, they can maybe have to be a little bit, I say a little bit, maybe they have to be hard in the sense that, come on, you got to power through this. You got to fight through it. You're going to have to fight through this. You're going to have to fight. And I say a little bit. As I've gotten older, I've smoothed my edges some, because I realize not everybody can hear things at a certain level of power through it. Don't whine, fight. And I get it. I have to pick my spots, and I do my best to try to pick my spots on things with individuals, on speaking a certain way, as far as fight through it, get in that grind. But at the same time that I could hear them, and even they start crying, a grown man going through something, and I can hear them without judging them the wrong way or looking at them differently. But if I do look at them differently with a higher level of respect. But how many times people will call that relationship, connecting, hearing somebody out, evil? But calling it, when somebody puts somebody down, tells somebody off, calls somebody names, and calling that good. Again, the math doesn't add up. Could we talk about Jesus walking on this earth when he was here? Strong, powerful, anointed. He's the anointed one. Being able to fast 40 days, 40 nights. You know how it went. Overcoming temptation, walking on this earth flawlessly, without sin, in a body of a man. But what do you think also? Kind, gentle, able to hear, able to take in other people's what they're going through. The contrast, what we call strong as a lion and as sweet as honey. The contrast, the two sides, the lion, the lamb, that we're able to see both sides. And what is a strong man? Well, a strong man is not just strong. He has to have a sweetness. A sweet man that is not strong, a sweet man that doesn't understand the strength side, that's a form, actually turns into manipulation. And occasionally I get challenged on this, because a lot of people aren't comfortable with any sweetness, and then a lot of people aren't comfortable with any strength. But you can't just be sweet, you gotta be strong. You can't just be strong, you gotta be sweet. Yes, you gotta be sweet. And I know I challenged you a little while ago to think of somebody that you think of as kind. I'll give this one, my paternal grandmother, my dad's mom. She was super sweet, really sweet, sweet to strangers. One time, someone tried to steal her purse. She grabbed her purse back, opened it up, actually gave the individual some money. I know a lot of people won't agree with that, but that was her. When the garbage man used to come to pick up the trash, she would make the garbage man come inside, and she'd give him lemonade. It was like, and he knew it. He knew if she saw him, she was going to make him come in and drink some lemonade. That was my grandmother. She was sweet, but was she strong? She was really strong, and she had gone through a lot. As a grandson, young grandson, I couldn't understand that part. I didn't know all the ins and outs of things that they went through in life. I just knew what I knew in front of me, my grandmother. And I didn't know all the things. And in time, my dad shared different things about his mother and things that she went through, and actually portrayed strength, but at the same time sweetness. I'm just grabbing her for an example. But yourself, you think of somebody that you just know they're kind. You just know that there's somebody you can be vulnerable to, and that they're gonna still respect you without disrespecting you, that you show some form of weakness and you show some form of vulnerability, and that they don't look at being kind as evil, and they don't look at calling somebody names, putting them down, attacking them as good. Going back to looking at this from a perspective of serving the Lord, our relationship with God, and I say vertically, but this way horizontally. How do we treat people? Because what really matters is God's watching me, he's watching you, how we carry ourselves. For myself, when somebody does attack me, to the best of my ability, I can't react. I can't respond. Why? Lest I damage myself. Because when individuals are doing that, yes, they're damaging people. They are. Don't get it wrong. They're damaging people. But they're really damaging themselves. That's the thing that comes back. Boom. Hits them back. Somebody attacks somebody. Somebody assassinates somebody. Somebody's a character. Their character drags their name, falsely accuses them. All those things, they are damaging themselves. And there's no way they can stand in the position of ministering and be anointed at the same time. Somebody can't verbally attack someone and then stand on the other side and be anointed. Doesn't work. You can't be arguing and walking in peace. You can't do both. You can't be griping and praising. You can't be complaining and giving thanks. It's one or the other. Calling bitter sweet and calling sweet bitter. Calling light darkness and calling darkness light. Let's not miss this thing. Let's know what good is. Let's know what evil is. Let's know what light is. Let's know what darkness is. Let's know what bitterness is. Let's know what sweetness is. And let's thank God for one another that are able to be a light to one another, that are able to be good to one another, to be able to be sweet with one another in the right way and not a form of manipulation, because you could be sweet in a form of manipulation. It's called love bombing. I don't have time to go into that. You may know the term. But the ability to contrast in the sense that we're strong, but yet we're kind. We're sweet. We can hear. We can be sensitive to other people. How about we respect that and we honor that? Being powerful, being anointed. How about being powerful, anointed, and just walking properly in life? Treating people properly. What does that reflect? And we can argue who has the truth. I have the truth, he has the truth, she has the truth, but yet our life doesn't speak it. What does my life say? What does your life say? I think about this all the time. I hope you're with me on how you walk, how you talk, how you treat people, not just people of influence, not just people that have a name, that people know their name, but just somebody that nobody knows their name, an individual. I'll leave you with this. How many times do you see someone that you're getting gas or someone and you could tell their life's down? Their clothes are all grungy, probably haven't showered in days or weeks. How are you with them? I'm going to give you this because so many times I'll see somebody like that and I'll say, hello, hi. I'll talk to them. And I know some people won't agree. I will give money to people. I do. Not all the time, but I do. Some people say, why are you sharing? I'm just saying it. But more than the money part, is treating them with respect. Treating them with respect. Sitting there on the sidewalk, leaning against the wall. Hey, how you doing? And I know sometimes I catch them off guard because you know what people do. They ignore them that they're even there. They ignore them that they're even there. But I'll do that. The person at the counter, hi, how you doing? And I understand. It's more than just making conversation, because it's not, I don't make conversation because I need to talk. I make it to show them respect. Yes, to show them respect. We're out of time, but I hope that you can see what I'm saying here. And let's be good, let's be light. Let's understand what it is to represent the kingdom of the Lord, to represent Him. We'd like to thank you for joining us on this Sunday morning. We will be back here in person at 12 o'clock here at Arizona time, 1363 South Vineyard in Mesa, Arizona, 85210. If you'd like to be kind and bless us financially, you can text 77977 New Creation AZ. New Creation AZ 77977. There's other things on there that you could probably connect with us. We also have an app you can get at your app, whatever device or carrier you have or phone. We thank you again for joining us, and have a blessed Sunday.